on this Monday afternoon. We have talked in the past about the federal government's so-called firearms buyback program, and there are still many questions about the program. We got a few details last week saying it was going to start in Nova Scotia. That's where the pilot would start before going nationwide. Many police forces right across the country, though, say they are still unsure if they will participate in the buyback program. Many saying they haven't been given enough detail from government officials. And what about the amount of money that is being put into the program? How is that going to trickle down to people who are perhaps participating? Well, joining me now is Wes Winkle, the Canadian Sporting Arms and Ammunition Association president. Wes, great to have you back on the show. Thanks for being here.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
When you look at the details, what's been released so far and what we know about the program, what are some of the questions you have?
Not so much questions. It's more, it appears on the surface to be disingenuous. The amount of money and budget allocated for this program dwarfs in comparison of what's required. So the question now that should be asked of the federal government is, what is the intention? They obviously are not trying to purchase the bulk of the firearms that they prohibited. So what is the alternate intention of the federal government would be a better question at this point.
Are you saying that because of the money that is being allocated for this and that doesn't match the inventory or the number of firearms that they are hoping to take back?
Correct, yeah. I mean, on both sides, phase one, which is the business portion, and on phase two, which is the individual or the consumer portion, both of which the number dwarfs what is required. The federal government released in a document or in a statement last week that they estimate they have enough money to buy 152,000 of the individual firearms. And Bill Blair released a document in 2020 that described there was more than 500,000 just previously non-restricted, not even including the ones that are registered out there in society. So it's a number that's nothing short of laughable. And now the question is, well, what is the intention when they run out of money?
And I guess if you draw a conclusion there, if they run out of money, either this is a government that would then have to find more money somewhere, or I know some of the other concerns that have been raised are, does that mean there will be people who won't be compensated?
Well, they made it pretty clear last week in the technical briefing that there's not many people that would be compensated, or there'd be lots of people that wouldn't be compensated, but they'd still be asked to turn in their firearms. But I mean, I think we all know that's not likely to happen. People are not going to give up their property without compensation. So we're very concerned about what this program is going to look like going forward.
And with your organization, I'll just back up a tiny bit. With the Canadian Sporting Arms and Ammunition Association, you were specifically talking with dealers and such. Is it different when you are talking to business owners and such? I mean, everybody, I think, if you have a firearm, if you have a firearm that's now on this list, that's now part of the program, you're going to be paying attention. But there are businesses, aren't there, who have been sitting on this inventory since this was first announced, wondering about this, aren't there?
Absolutely. There's been inventory in place since 2020 that has not been compensated for yet. And then there's been subsequent prohibitions in 2023 and 2024 with many more firearms added that have added to the amount of inventory that's been frozen in businesses' hands. And it's caused a lot of stress to the industry. And now we're being told that there might only be $10 million left for compensation when there's still, tens of millions of dollars required for businesses, and that there's not going to be enough compensation for businesses either. And that's going to cause a great deal of hardship for those businesses that are in possession of this inventory.
Because what else could they possibly do with it? I know for individual owners, it's you're given the choice of you can take part in the program, and there's concerns there too that once the money runs out, what happens? Or you can make it so the firearm basically is an ornament that it doesn't operate. But that doesn't seem like that would be an option for business owners. Again, these owners that you're talking about that have been sitting with this inventory for years now.
Well, it's not an option really for either category. The individuals can opt to do that, but it's a very expensive process because the RCMP has made it very convoluted to render a firearm inoperable legally. So it's a very expensive process, and again, there's no compensation for that. So it's highly unlikely individuals will do it, but businesses certainly won't do that because it makes the firearm valueless. And again, this is inventory that they've bought in the last couple calendar years because the RCMP told us it was legal when we imported it. and then the federal government changed their mind a short time later and changed now that inventory is being frozen, and it's basically built for the Canadian market by our vendors, so it's not really exportable or doesn't really have any value anywhere else in the world. And certainly deactivating it for sale is not an option because there's no value left.
The inventory as well that's sitting there that is now on the list, like you said, there was the federal ministry in charge changed their mind, changed some of the parameters of that. Can you describe what kinds of firearms are now on that list?
Yeah, absolutely. There's everything from what they deem to be large caliber hunting rifles, bolt.
Oh, Wes, can you hear me? Oh, sorry, Wes, your phone just cut out there.
I apologize. I said yes. There's lots of bolt-action hunting rifles, and then there's 22 caliber rimfire rifles that are used for target practice and for small game hunting, as well as a lot of what's called a pistol caliber rifle, which is one that people would use for a competition that would match the ammunition used in their handgun. So very anemic indoor rifles used for short range competition.
Because when you talk to somebody like yourself in the industry, and then when we hear comments from the federal government, it seems very different what they are describing. They often go back saying no one is taking away someone's hunting rifle or something that somebody is using for that. But it sounds like when you actually look at this list, there are firearms on this list that their sole purpose is for hunting.
Absolutely. When you take some of the fire rifles that were prohibited with the 10,000 joule parameters, those are all hunting rifles. So those rifles have never been used in the commission of a crime, to my knowledge, globally, ever. They're large caliber hunting rifles only designed for hunting. Similarly, a lot of the rimfire stuff is used for hunting all the time. Again, the government's comments there about them not being used for hunting are disingenuous and misleading.
So what happens, do you think, at this point? If nothing changes, and like you said, there's been the indication that it's not going to change, what happens to the industry? What happens to all of these business owners?
Well, I mean, it puts the industry as a whole in a great deal of peril. There's the market has been shrunk. There's a lot of stale inventory that has not been compensated for, that is stuck in inventory and has to be insured to continue to be legally stored. Yes, it puts a great deal of strain on the industry, and we added to that this year, of course, the tariff situation for most of the summer that caused a great deal of concern as well. So we've seen a lot of jobs lost already, and we anticipate a lot more in an industry that before Bill Blair's first announcement in 2020 was thriving and operating safely in Canada.
Wes Winkle, we will continue to follow this. I appreciate you coming on the show today. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Wes Winkle is the president of the Canadian Sporting Arms and